I hope you're hungry because you're listening to Everybody Eats.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Everybody Eats. It's your host, Bensky Belazaire. We got our co-host, Edom Ekpe, on the phone, and we're here with a special guest, Mr. Chris Chin. Not Christian, Mr. Chris Chin. So we got another alumni from Queens College. We love a QC alum. I'm always repping Queens College. We produce some really amazing people. So we just have another one here on today's episode. So before we get into that, make sure you're following us on all platforms. On our Instagram page, that's at everybody_eats podcast. Twitter, that's at everybody_eats_. Make sure that you're checking out our new merch that is coming out. So that will be available on kiltystyles.com coming soon. So stay tuned for that. And we're about to launch on TikTok. So those are some updates. So let's get into today's episode. So Chris, could you introduce yourself, talk about what you do, where you're from, and then we'll get into today's topic.
Gotcha. Thank you for the introduction. And before I talk about me, I want to say shout outs to you guys because, yes, QC alumni, we do big things out here. I love what you guys are doing with the podcast.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Everybody each is sharing all the information. I really love what you guys are doing. I'm glad I'm here to contribute to it. I appreciate the opportunity.
For sure. I really appreciate that.
So a little bit about me. I work with a full service financial marketing firm, showing people how to save money in all different types of ways. Screw Wall Street, screw the IRS, and screw the lenders.
All right, so...
What else? I forgot what else there was to it.
No, so I was going to say, so I know for today's topic, we're talking about life insurance, right? So to get into that discussion, what is life insurance? If someone who knows absolutely nothing about it, how would you describe it to them?
I would say that as simple as it is, it's a contract that is going to pay your family money to replace your income. Should something happen to you, if you die, your family gets a check. There's also situations where if you live, you can use it for living benefits.
All right, so
you can use that to protect your family, protect your business. If you have a business arrangement, if something happens, you want to make sure that your business partners are taken care of.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different uses for it. But as simple as it is, it's a contract that's going to pay your family money.
Okay, so could you talk a little bit more about that? How is that set up? So, you'll hear on commercials, sometimes commercials for life insurance, you hear that you have to pay a premium or get life insurance for 50 cents a day. How exactly, right? So you'll hear those things, how exactly does that actually work? Regarding payments, where do you go to even get life insurance? Do you, does it matter what kind of policies that you have?
Gotcha. So as far as how does it work, as far as you exchange monthly premiums, it's just like car insurance.
Okay.
So you're getting something in return for your monthly premiums. As long as you don't get into an accident in the car, you're not mad about what you're paying for the premiums, right?
I guess not.
Right? It's the same situation with life insurance.
Yeah.
You're paying the premiums. If it needs to be in use, you want to make sure that it's actually in force at the time when you need it.
Yeah.
So it's different. There's two different types. There's term, and then there's permanent insurance.
Okay.
So term would be it's like renting. So you get it for 10, 20, 30 years. Permanent insurance is permanent. You get it for the entirety of your life.
Got it. So I know another word for the permanent is the whole life, I believe.
Got you. Well, that's actually one flavor of permanent.
That's one flavor. Okay, so can you speak about that?
Gotcha. So there's really two main flavors when it comes to permanent insurance.
Yeah.
There's whole life, and then there's universal life. That's a little bit of a newer concept that's come out. And one of the reasons why a lot of people push whole life is because obviously they want the idea of you want to have permanent insurance. You get permanent coverage, and it's also sold with the idea that you can build up some cash value inside of it, which is all true. Universal life is more of an upgraded version of whole life. Because with whole life, let's say you want to build up some cash value, the insurance companies will invest your money, they'll make 10%, and they'll give you back 3%.
Mm.
Universal life, you're seeing a lot more of what you're actually getting returns on. I know people have come back with 15% in terms of growth in their accounts. So there's whole different flavors for that.
Got it. So, Edom, do you have a question?
So, like, if from your perspective, what do you think is maybe better, or what would you like? Which policy out of the two would you prefer to take out for yourself, and like why?
Got you. Well, personally, I have a universal life, and specifically an index universal life insurance policy. And essentially, what that is, if I was to break it down, it's called an IUL. Index is a strategy of investing. It's where you basically go up with the market to a cap, but when the market goes down, you're guaranteed to hit a floor of at least 0, so you never lose money inside of that account. Universal means it's flexible, so I can add more if I want to at the end of each month, or I can even cut back if money's looking tight for 1 month. And the life part just means it's life insurance. So if something happens to me, my beneficiary gets however much is in the account. The death benefit plus all the cash that I've accumulated inside of it. And it's all tax-free. So it's tax-free money. It's actually one of the best parts of life insurance.
Okay, it sounds like an investment vehicle too. Well, not, I'm sure it's not the exact same. It's definitely not an investment vehicle, but the way that whole rising and then the break even at the floor of 0, that aspect of it sounds a lot like an investment vehicle, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, a lot of the clients that I use it as a retirement vehicle, because in a lot of the other options that they have, there's not many ways to guarantee themselves protection against loss. Everybody wants to make money. Making money is great, but to me, it's more important to protect everything that we make. Because I could make $100,000, but if I lose $50,000 the next day, does it really matter? I would rather lock in all my gains.
Yeah, that's true. It's not, like you said, it's not always about how much money you make, right? Like when it comes to like saving, they say the same thing. Like if it's not about how much money you make, about how much you save. Right, so like similar, it's not necessarily about how much you make, because if you make it and then you spend it all the way, then all right, now nothing happened. But if you make it, save, invest, right, now you can have money working for you, money making money, right? So you're not just what's the word, like you're not just like squandering it and just like spending it and not keeping it and actually benefiting from making that money.
Exactly. There's 3 principles. Oh, I was going to say there's 3 principles. You want to grow your money, you want to not lose money, and you want to screw the IRS. You're not trying to pay as much in taxes. But go ahead, what you were about to say?
Oh, I just want to know, I maybe you covered it, it might have went over my head a little bit, but is there any way to make money from at least any of these, specifically, like what I want to know is, can you make money out of, like while you're living from the universal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can use. Are you asking if you can use that money while you're still alive?
Yes. Yeah, correct.
Yes, 100%. You can.
Okay, cool.
You can either take out withdrawals. You can actually withdraw the money, or you can take it out as a loan. One of the benefits of taking it out as a loan is that there's some companies out there that with a loan rate of basically 0. So you're just loaning it out, and there's no interest on it, and the policy is still accumulating money. It's still growing. It's like an interest-free loan. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, actually.
That sounds pretty cool.
And there's no, you're not getting penalized at all for doing that, are you?
No. The only thing I would say is the earlier you take it out, the less your money's gonna grow. So if you want to count that as like a penalization or like but other than that, no.
Okay. All right.
That's real cool.
I feel like most people don't know that.
I had no idea about this a couple years ago.
Word. So that's real cool. One thing that you said that I just briefly wanted to talk about was when he said screw the IRS and I don't want to pay as much in taxes. That just reminds me of a conversation I had yesterday. I was playing ball, and then I started one of the kids I was playing with, like he started talking about like the current tax laws and how they benefit businesses, and then he was just like going on talking about like, oh yeah, like it's not enough just to be making $100K, like you got to have multiple streams of income, and like obviously no, that's my language right there, right? So when you start talking about multiple streams of income, so we started getting into that conversation. But anyway, when he was talking about the tax laws and he was talking about like Amazon, big businesses not paying taxes, and in my head I'm like, yo, right, like people, we spoke about this before in a different episode, like people kind of have that misconception, or they have, let me not say misconception, but people a lot of times they have this idea of, or are looking down on companies, corporations, or people for not paying a lot of taxes, if they're making a lot of money. And like, to me, the idea is just so interesting or weird because like we mentioned before, like a lot of these tax laws, yes, they benefit business owners, but like there's ways to still benefit as a regular individual. Like you don't necessarily need to have a business or per se, or you could just start an LLC, but like there are ways that you too can take advantage and benefit from those same tax laws, right? It's not something that you have to like hate on or hate someone else for taking advantage of. Those laws are there. So you could/should be finding ways that you can say, hold on, let me set up an LLC for myself, or let me get into these different type of retirement vehicles so I could put my money in this and watch it grow and maybe not have to pay taxes on it now, or you know what I mean, or let me start an LLC and let me get some tax cuts, and tax deductions and things like that. Like no one wants to pay taxes. Right? Like that's not like my thing's like no one wants to pay taxes. So if you can find a legal way to not pay taxes, why wouldn't you? Like to me, that's just the mindset that I have. So when you said that, that just makes me go back to that conversation. So that's my little rant. I had to get that off. I had to get that off.
A lot of the times is a lot of people don't understand how the tax laws work. So you were right on the ball on that. They think that old corporations are breaking the law, or they're scheming, and they understand the rules that are in place.
Exactly, right? So it's just education. Like to be honest, I didn't understand, like not until I looked deep into it. I was in the same position. Like I didn't understand what they're doing, and I just figured like every time you hear big companies not paying taxes, you just figure like, all right, look at the corrupt. You know what I mean? Like that was in my head. And then once I started learning, like, yo, you could take, especially once I started Kilty, and then I like my mentors are like, oh, you could benefit from this, you could benefit from that, and I'm like, oh snap, like, this is real game. Like it's not anything illegal, right? If you decide to do something illegal, now that's on you. But the law itself, or you know what I mean? But the law itself and taking advantage of it, that's not illegal. So.
Exactly. So, I know one thing when it comes to like, if people want to grow their money, one thing that I teach my clients all the time is how our money gets taxed when it's growing. There's only 3 ways they can get taxed. They can get taxed now.
Yeah.
They can get taxed later. That would be like tax deferred stuff.
Yeah.
Or it can get taxed. You can never get taxed on your gains. And there's only 2 ways to never get taxed on your gains.
And what are they?
A Roth IRA and cash accumulation inside of life insurance. Those are the only 2 ways to get tax-free money.
So could you speak a little bit more on exactly how that works, or how, like why or so?
It's literally a chapter in the IRS book called 7702.
7702.
Why? Just because it's in the book.
Okay. Yeah.
Like 401k and 403b, those are tax codes.
Yeah.
Those mean tax deferred. That means tax later. Those aren't investments. So you can look up the IRS book and go to section 401k, and it'll explain how the tax codes work for that. Like, it's a tax code.
Got it. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how that worked.
Everybody eats, bro.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats. Yeah, I was wondering. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Got it.
But, yeah, I'll tell you that. That's the stuff they don't tell you.
That's the stuff they don't tell you in school. But yeah.
Exactly.
So do you have anything else you want to speak on about that, or like life insurance? Any other points you wanted to cover?
I guess I would say that in my experience, what I've seen is that it's especially useful for cops, teachers, and firefighters, or anybody that has a pension. Because I know a lot of the times when people have pensions, they're more inclined to take the max payout, so they can get the max amount that they want to collect when it's time for them to retire.
Yeah.
But should they pass away, that check stops coming in, so that leaves their family with no income. They have no pension income. So I know that one of the ways that I've seen a lot of the stuff work with people that have a pension is they're allowed to take them. They can take the max payout, but they also have something in place for their family should they die prematurely.
Got it.
And a lot of people have insurance. Well, I can't even say a lot. Some people have insurance through their jobs, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. When I was a school bus driver, man, I had like $15,000 worth of coverage, as life insurance. I was a school bus driver.
Yeah.
I didn't plan on dying in the bus. And if I didn't, nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
I would have to die at work.
Got it.
So, I mean, I don't know what else there is to add. If you guys have any more questions, I'll gladly add on. But I think this is all really important stuff, because growing up, I knew nothing about insurance, about wealth, about building money, about principal protection, none of this stuff.
For sure. And that's what we're doing here. Everybody eats, man. So thank you for that. So right now we'll take a pause, and then we'll come back to do the quote of the day, and then our next segment. All right, so we're about to do our quote of the day for today's episode. So the quote I have this week, I actually spoiled the original quote, so I had to come up with this one. It happens. So the quote is, "Just because you took longer than others doesn't mean you failed."
Gary V.
Nope.
Hey, yo, that was my first thought too.
Nah. Just because you took longer than others doesn't mean you failed.
Obama?
Nah. Close.
Can I get a Michelle?
Nah.
What you mean close? How close can you get?
I know, right? Does close mean he black? Does close mean he was a president?
He's black. Yeah.
I don't know.
Martin Luther?
Nah, not Martin.
Malcolm?
Nah, not Malcolm.
Gandhi?
Nah, you thinking too back. More recent.
Too far back.
Can you give like a profession hint?
He's a rapper.
I don't know, was that Oprah?
Jay-Z?
You said Oprah? Nah, you using way too many guesses. You using way too many guesses.
Wait.
You got one more.
Stop. What are you doing?
Bro, you already named like half the black people, bro. Like.
Rapper.
You got one more.
Stop. Alright. I'm going with Hope.
Nah, you already said Jay-Z already. It's Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle.
I'm a sore loser, bro, as you can see.
Yeah, it was Nipsey Hussle. So
that's crazy.
I saw that quote the other day. It was on my page, so I saved it.
I'm at a loss for words right now.
So I saw it on my timeline the other day, and I saved it. Because it's just something personally, something I've just been thinking about a lot is just the idea of patience. Like just a lot of times in life, whether it's in business or just things in life, like I feel like we want everyone wants things right away or wants them fast for the most part. You want something done as quick as possible. But then like when you really have to just sit there and like just grind it out, it kind of just gives you a little bit more respect for it, and you just learn to really love the process. And that's just loving the process. That's a whole different topic I could talk about, but that kind of just ties into of like when you spoke about on one episode called Loving the Grind. I think that's like episode 5. But we talk about like when you start to like if you're creative or if you have a career, if you're creative, you have a brand, like once you start to really love what you do and you start to really love the process of creating and distributing and just like actually creating and giving and bringing value to other people, once you start to really love that, it doesn't matter how long it takes. For example, if you say like, "Oh, I want to get $1,000,000," it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get $1,000,000 if you really love the process, right? Because you should be doing it for the love of the process, not for the money. If you're motivated by money and say you don't get your financial goals, you're gonna what? You're going to be discouraged, right? No, but if you really love the process, if you really love doing what it, love actually, the genuine feel of bringing value or creating and doing whatever, then it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to be quote unquote successful or how you quantify that or to reach your financial goals because you're doing it for the love of it.
What was the quote again?
Let's go back. Just because you took longer than others doesn't mean you failed.
You're 100% right on that.
Yeah, that goes back to his like theme of the marathon and everything. So I really like that actually.
Yeah, exactly, man. Marathon continues. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. Like something like it's just so easy, so quick. Like Gary V, you have to bring him back, but he had a post where he was talking about like, yo, if I see another millennial say that I'm gonna be a millionaire or something like that before the age of 30, I'm gonna slap him, right? And then I was cheesing, but then when he went back to when he went to go talk more about it, he was saying how like if you really love what you do, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to become a millionaire, so to speak, right? Like if you're doing it to have a financial goal, what if you don't reach that financial goal by 30? Like then you're gonna be like discouraged. But no, it's like love the game, love the process, love the grind, love all of it, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. So
yeah, that's definitely facts. I love that.
Sure.
Challenges actually like what they want to do. That's like it's bad funny. I actually surprised I didn't see that, but that's facts, because a lot of people, if you make money your goal instead of the what is it, the idea or the process, then you just end up like, are you really behind it? Like, let's say I want the clothing line to make us a meal in like, or this podcast to make us a meal in like 3 months, in 3 months, like, will I still not love the podcast, love doing this, coming and meeting with you every week with different people? Then, so.
Exactly. So, so that's what that means to me. I really like that quote. So, we'll take a pause here, and then we'll go into our last segment. All right, we're here for the last segment of today's episode. So we're going to go back to talk more about the financial literacy. So to end it off, we want to Chris wants to start mentioning the financial foundations, and then we'll go into financial mindset. So important financial foundations for you to have when you're making money, right? If you have a job, how should you be setting up, say, how you should be setting up your money, like whether it comes in like in accounts, investments, and things like that. So Chris will start us off, and then we'll go from there.
Got you. So one of the things that I had learned in the way that I was taught to structure things out when I'm helping people with their accounts is you want to start off do building blocks. So obviously the base level, the first building block is a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should know how to do their own budget. They should know what's coming in, what's going out. and like just that, as simple as that. What's coming in and what's going out? Where's your money going? And where's it coming from?
Yeah, that's really important. To be honest, that's something that I should get better at, but it's something that I've been, I just been procrastinating, unfortunately. But it's something that I know I need to get definitely more in control of and definitely easier. And it's funny because I did it for NABA when I was treasurer. I did it for NABA, like handling that budget, and like I thought it was so complicated. Like I don't know, people you put in these mindsets in your head that right that things are hard or complicated until you actually start to do it and you realize it's really not that hard. So I was able to do it, exactly. So I was able to do it for NABA, and then Guilty Styles podcast helps to do it. So, but it's like my personal finances, I find myself it's like slacking on doing that. But it's just a really smart way. Like I still track like my statements and stuff like that. Getting into that habit of knowing how much did I spend, where did I spend it, because if you're not doing that, right, it's easy to just spend money like, spend money here, there, and not even realizing like, yo, like I just, my check came in and then it just went out. Like, yeah, because you're not, in charge and you're not really looking at your finances. Right. And to add another thing, sorry, this is what I saw on social media this week, on Instagram. Someone was talking about, print out, if you have a credit card, debit card, right? You get statements every month. They're like, print that out and highlight everything that was a necessity, right? And then what you'll be left with is all your entertainment, so to speak, or your entertainment budget, so to speak, right? So if you highlight, or you could reverse it. So for example, if you have a credit card or debit card, if you paid for groceries or you pay for gas, those are necessities. But then if you see that you have like maybe like 4 Uber trips that maybe you didn't need, or you have some food that maybe you went out and bought food, and if you start to look at all that, they're like, you'll start to see where your money's coming and where it's going. And from there, you'll be able to budget your money better. So that's just a tip that I heard. I saw this week.
No, that's a solid one. I like that. Being able to print out your own statements and just look at all the outgoing.
Yeah, like forcing yourself, like look at it. Like you'll be forced to like really sit down with it. Because I mean, I've experienced this. There's been times where like some people don't want to look at their bank statements, or don't want to see how much money they have in the bank. Like some people, generally that makes them uncomfortable, right? And if you're uncomfortable doing that, then guess what, right? If you're going to be spending money and you're not going to be looking at it because you're going to be like, I don't want to look at my money. I don't want to see where it's going. Like, I'm afraid to look at my account. Like, no, it's important to be looking at your account and being, keeping track of where you're spending your money. That's important. That's what you should be doing. Right? Like, yeah, it takes a little bit more time, but you'll start to be able to say, hey, I can save money here. I can spend less money here. Or I shouldn't be spending this much money on Ubers. I shouldn't be spending this much money eating out. I shouldn't be spending this much money, getting drinks with my friends. Like, how about I spend less here, and then maybe I could use that money to, just save, to have for a rainy day, like we spoke on before. Or let me use this money to invest. Let me use this money to start a podcast or a business or this or that. Right? So it's all about just like changing that, changing the narrative. Everybody eats, right? Changing that mindset of like, don't be afraid to look at your financials. Like, don't be afraid.
And on that, I'm going to say something. I don't know, some people might not like me for saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think what that comes down to a lot of the times is the mindset behind it. A lot of people that I've personally seen this when they're afraid to look at their bank statements, or they just spend money willy-nilly and they don't really care. A lot of the times it's because they have no vision. They have no goals. They have nothing that they're moving towards.
That's true.
So they don't care.
That's true. When you have a financial goal, it's easier to definitely save money and be more conscious of that. I've definitely realized that. Right? Because I remember like in high school when I had a summer job, and then right when I come back for school, I'm spending all that money on Chinese food, fries, and McDonald's. So like literally that was all where my money went to. I was like, it came and it went. I wasn't saving, but it was high school. I wasn't thinking about that. Then once I got into college and things started to be a little bit more serious, bills started to add up, and definitely now, and like now that I have financial goals and plans, now it's like, all right, like I have to be more conscious of when, how, and where I'm spending my money.
Bro, I was in the same predicament. When I first got started with my firm, I did my own financial review. I was working at the mall. I was making like I think like 2 G's a month. My expenses was like $700 a month, and I had like $500 in the bank.
Yeah.
I had like all my money was going towards food. Like I was spending all of it on food, transportation, and entertainment.
Yeah.
All of it. I had no vision. I had no plans for the future, and it showed in my bank account because it was basically empty.
For sure.
Definitely vision and discipline. On top of having vision, like you just the discipline to be like, hey, I don't need this. I don't need to take this Uber from point A to point B when I could probably, who knows, walk it out for.
I
10,
just take the
minutes,
bus, something like that.
Or take the bus even. Yeah, some people just don't like taking the bus. Like, oh, I'm not taking Uber. That to me is a little like, I kind of look at you funny because the way I see it, I see it like monetary. It's like, yo, I'm really real here. Like, yo, I could spend this, $7 Uber, or like, all right, so Uber to college from my house to Queens is like, it can range between $25 and 40.
Yeah, it's like a solid $30.
Yeah. And instead I could just hit a $275 bus ride and go listen to a whole new album or a podcast or something on the bus for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then that's a whole $40 in my pocket. I kind of view money kind of like really funny in a sense. Like, let's say for Long Islanders, listening, minimum wage is $12, and in Queens it's $15. So the way I see it is, if I spend that $40 to go catch an Uber one way, that's like a 4-hour shift in Long Island, and like a 3-hour, they don't have 3-hour shifts, but that's like about a 3-hour shift if I'm working in Queens. That makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Instead, I'll just spend a total of $550 on a Metro card and sit on a bus. Just rock, do your own thing. Just make those sacrifices.
Nah, for sure.
Don't do that.
Nah, for sure.
And even in food, you have food at home. I have a big issue where, like, when I was working a lot, all of a sudden I had no food at home. I'd be like, yo, there's no food at home. Oh, gotta go order some wings or some Domino's or some Chinese food. And then, when you really just sit back and realize, like, hey, we do have food, and the $18 I'm spending on Uber Eats, and 5 of that comes from delivery charge, I can just go and either walk there and get the food myself, or go and prepare and make some food myself and save that. And on top of that, at the end of the day, if you're making food at home, 9 times or 10 out of 10 times, it's going to be healthier than whatever you're eating outside. So there's 2 benefits there. Your wallet's going to thank you, and your health is better in the long run. So that's how I see it personally.
Nah, for sure. You made some really valid points there, man. We could have like 3 different discussions about all that, but I think like the biggest things when he said make your food, like one, there's always rice at home, right? I know you got rice at home. There's rice at home. Your mama said it. Your dad said it. There's rice at home, right? And then 2, just like you said, just like I've noticed it's just easy. I'm guilty at work. Like, it's easy to just buy food at work or go out for lunch. But if you just prep your own food, like, you'll save money and it's most likely healthier. And then, like Edom also said, a lot of it comes with just discipline, right? Making those sacrifices, making those decisions, to discipline yourself to say, yeah, let me just go spend, like, you said like $550 or whatever, like $275, depending on the distance, to, get there in an hour instead of paying the $30 to get there in like 10. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're in a rush or you have a good excuse, right? Sure, there's time to use the Uber, but realistically, if you have a financial goal, you shouldn't be spending that money. You could be taking the longer way, save that money, and then, like Edom said, listen to a podcast, do something productive in that meantime, right? And that's just the mindset that we have to change of, this is how you build. It starts small, right? Like, maybe saving $10 here, saving $5 here, but when you add those up, right, eventually you can reach a goal. You can set a goal and then you can reach it. And then that money will add up and you can use it for whatever investment vehicle or, idea that you have. So
like the way I see it, also like for every like wasted purchase or like like frivolous purchase, for every like 4 or 5 of them, the one I spend my money on is all the more worth it.
yeah. Yeah. And like one thing
I told Bensky this one day, like definitely like what was it? Our phrase was delay the purchase.
I was just about to say delay the purchase.
As much as you can.
I was just about to say that. Like one thing that Edom and I have been saying, honestly, for the past couple of years, it's like there's been a bunch of times where I see something on Amazon, see something online that I want to buy, and I'm like, do I really need it? Let me delay the purchase. And I think that's just like my procrastination hitting too. So I think procrastination is good, right? This is where procrastination helps out. So I'll be like, nah, I'll just buy it later. I'll buy it later. And then usually what ends up happening is like, one, I end up, I don't actually really need it. Or two, I'll end up finding it for like a better price later on. So it's like, if it's not a necessity, right? Yeah, just delay the purchase. I'll find it eventually. Or maybe a lot of times, it's like later on when I bought like a better version. So like if I wanted just like pants, right? I'll be like, I just want to see like these pretty cool jeans. And then I'll be like, let me wait till later. And then later on, I'll actually find like a cooler pair of jeans. I'm like, hey, lit. Let me go get that instead. So, I think
1 cent.
Yeah, and that's all still on budgeting. So
yeah, that was like the first block.
Yeah. so I don't want to rush, but like, what are the other ones?
I would say we really dived in on that one, but that's good because that's really where it all starts.
I would
say the second one after that would be proper protection.
Okay.
Meaning insurance. You need to have insurance for your family. Even if you have a family, especially, but even if you don't have a family, like, are there people that you want to take care of?
Yeah.
Is there anybody that's supporting you? Who are you supporting?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that if something happens, they're taken care of, so you don't have to worry about that. And obviously, money doesn't replace the life of somebody. We know that, but it makes it a little bit easier because that's one less thing that they have to worry about.
Yeah.
So proper protection is the second one on the building blocks. I would say right after that is debt elimination.
Debt elimination. Okay.
Yeah, because it's really hard to. You ever try to fill up a bucket with holes in it?
Nah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's pretty inefficient.
Yeah,
it's hard to build wealth if you owe people money.
Yeah.
Now, there's great ways to use debt to your advantage, but at the end of the day, we want to get rid of it. We don't want to stay in debt.
No, exactly, and you want to be careful on what kind of debt that you put on. That's just something that a decision I'm thinking about, for example, which is like grad school, right? So, like it sounds like a good idea. And like obviously there are a lot of factors, but one factor that I'm really considering is like, hey, like I don't look forward into getting into any debt for schooling, or that type of debt. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna get into a debt for something, I'd rather get in debt like a mortgage, right? A mortgage or or property. You know what I mean? To me, I'm like that's cooler debt, right? That's good. That's good debt because I'm actually I'm going to own something that's going to give me income, passive income. You know what I mean? Like a grad degree is great, but like I can't pass on a degree to my child, and a degree is not going to be giving me monthly income, right? So the just when you say different types of debt, that's just like an example that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's a great example of it.
Yeah.
And don't eliminate your credit card debt with another credit card. I know somebody who's done that, and I think it's the dumbest thing you could do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who gave you. I don't know why you have enough money for this in the first place. And yeah, you're gonna live your life in debt. I know someone who's they're like a couple. I want to say between $80,000 and $200,000 in credit card debt, and there's like a year. They're 23.
God,
23-year-old.
Come on.
I got it under control. They keep saying, I'm like, bro, you opening up. You're trying to pay off your first credit card with like 15% interest, with another credit card that charges you 26% interest, and that come on, bro. Come on.
Numbers aren't adding up, but honestly, definitely if you can really avoid, if you can one pay off your debt and then just really avoid getting into debt, it will put you at just such a better advantage financially for your personal goals. Just to just make things like that's one less bill you have to pay. That's one less place where money is going. Where it's just definitely, some debt is seen, unfortunately, like say student loans, like a lot of people have, that's just a reality, right? So if you have that, that's understandable. But when it comes to credit card debt and things like that, like just don't purchase it unless you have the money for it, right? Pay off your credit card. Then we'll probably have to do a whole different credit card episode, but we've covered aspects of it in this and previous episodes. Just if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it.
Yeah, you can't buy it twice, don't buy it.
All right, so that elimination. So then number 4.
Number 4 would be having an emergency fund. Normally,
fund.
I would recommend, and we would try and help our clients get to at least 6 months worth of income, just to have that lying in the bank.
Yeah, we spoke about that. We spoke about that before, definitely, and that's just an important matter of just having money there, just in case, because you never know what can happen in life. You never know, God forbid, either the checks don't hit. You know what I mean? So like, the checks ain't hit. Like you need something. You need something there. So
exactly. We don't know what happens. You might be driving, all 4 tires blow up at the same time.
Yeah. You never know. Right.
So emergency fund is critical. And then the last one I would say is the long-term savings. So this will be things like your investments, your retirement accounts, your properties, all of that stuff. All your long-term stuff comes last.
Got it.
To have a solid foundation, I would say, because I want to make sure that when I sit with somebody, personally, the way that we do it is we want to make sure all those things are taken care of. I mean, if we can do it at the same time, that would be great.
Yeah.
But if not, then that's the building blocks to make sure that it's done right.
Got it.
So I have are the building blocks, all 5 of those, are they in that order that you gave us, or like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exactly in that order, one after the other? Should we follow those like that?
I mean, I'm not gonna say yes or no. I would.
Yeah.
Like obviously, everybody has different priorities. If somebody doesn't have debt, then they're not gonna worry about number 3.
Yeah. True.
If they have enough money in the bank and they don't need to increase the emergency fund, then all right, they can focus more on getting rid of their debt or making sure that they have insurance.
True.
It depends on where you are in that point in time. If you have nothing going for you, then that's the order we're gonna build it up in.
Got it.
But if you have stuff already happening for you, well, then how can we strengthen that and also improve on your weaker areas?
Got it. For sure. So how about we go over? Could you repeat those for the listeners? What are the 5?
Got you. So one more time for everybody who's listening. The first thing that we're going to do for the building blocks is establish a budget. Get your money right. Make sure those checks are hit.
Yeah.
The second thing is proper protection. We want to make sure that if something happens to you in a worst case scenario, your family is protected. They don't have to worry about income. Because insurance is more income protection than anything else. If 2 adults with a family, especially in New York, they want to live together and just make a living out here. If one of those incomes is gone, the other person now has to make up for that. They got to put on, that they got to download the Uber app, or they got to put on that orange apron and go to Home Depot. We want to try and minimize that. You don't want them to you don't want to affect their quality of life too much.
Exactly. So we make a budget, protect income protection, or just protection, right? You want to make sure that you're looking out for your family, loved ones, business, whatever you care about.
Yeah, so next is debt elimination. Get out of debt as fast as possible. Build up that emergency fund so you have 6 months worth of income.
Get that emergency fund just in case. And number 5,
just in case money.
That just in case money.
and then let's go crazy with our long-term savings. Let's go crazy with our investments. Let's make our money make money.
All right, and
let's build this generational wealth.
That number 5, that applies to everybody. Whether we were talking about how some of these may apply to some people or not, depending if you're in debt and this and the third. But number 5, that long-term investments, that applies to everybody. Whatever stage that you're in financially, right? You could be just now saving, or you could have $1 million. You're still going to be looking for long-term investments and things like that. So those are the 5 tips, 5 financial foundations. So I think that's really helpful. I definitely learned a lot. I think this is definitely, you can never hear too much financial literacy. Like it shouldn't be looked at as like a special topic that people talk about. Like only this certain type of people talk about financial literacy. No, I think financial literacy has to be a conversation that we have all the time, on the regular. The same way that people are quick to talk pop culture, rap music, what's late in sports and things like that. I think financial literacy should be there, where we're bouncing off ideas. Did you know this? Did you know that? Like before, Chris, you're talking about new laws. That should be the type of conversation that we should be having regularly, right? between each other, with our older generations, younger generations. Like that should just be a type of conversation. So you're on your toes. You know how to take care of your money, what to do with your money, and just set yourself up, set your family up, set your generations up, and so everybody can eat. So we appreciate you, Chris, for coming on today's episode. Appreciate you talking about this. I think it's definitely important, and you can, like I said, you can never hear it too many times. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I really appreciate this, guy. I want to share the message. I love what you guys are doing. I love listening to the podcast. I'm excited to see what comes in the next few years for you guys.
Appreciate it, man. So on that note, how can people reach out to you? They want to learn more, get some more tips, more advice.
Got you. You guys can hit me up on Instagram. It's Chris Chin, ChrisChin _, not _ Christian, Christian. Because my name is Chris Chin, it's not Christian. It's 2 words.
For sure. So that's how they can reach out. So remember, for all those following, just to give updates of what's coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned for some great episodes for the month of March. Make sure they're following us on all platforms. Like I said, we are going to be out on TikTok soon. By the time this episode drops, I'm looking to start a quick little series, or just drop some videos on Instagram and on TikTok of just an addition of dropping advice and things that I've learned about entrepreneurship in my young entrepreneur career. I've noticed that just talking to people either on where we are in their career or in their brand building, we face similar issues, or we're going through similar problems, or maybe we have similar goals. Or I just noticed a lot of conversation, and I want to be able to give back as an extension of the podcast, to just talk about things I've learned in my 1-year career, especially to help those who are looking to start building a brand, start a business, a hobby, start selling something. Just some tips, specific pieces of advice. So that might drop before this episode goes. Any other housekeeping items, make sure you're following. If you're interested in getting an Everybody Eats hoodie, we are collabing with our boy Sosa from Hood Royalties. We have these navy blue and gold Everybody Eats hoodies. They're on the Instagram page. The best part about them, satin hoods. So Sosa's been working. He's been putting out some amazing products, so we definitely had to collab. So we have satin hood hoodies, right? Perfect for your waves, perfect for your hair, your braids, whatever type of hair you got, male, female, whatever type of hair that you have, that satin feels lovely. Plus, we got sweatpants coming with satin pockets, so when you put your hands in, you don't want to take them out. So shout out to Sosa. So we have those. Those are available. They will be available on kiltystyles.com. Hopefully by the time this episode drops. So stay tuned. And shout out to the Perfect Play. Went to their event last Saturday. Kill All Doubt. That was a really amazing episode. Hopefully we'll get them on podcast soon, so we can interview the people there at the Perfect Play. Those are all my housekeeper items. It's your host, Bensky Belazaire. Thank you again, Chris. Thank you, Edom. Everybody eats. See you guys next time.